And now, it's Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on CL 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Gray.
Vancouver Whitecaps FC are back from Tucson, Arizona. They hit Victoria on Sunday, the FA Cup. The USL Pro heads in a new direction. Canadians men's national team news, MLS expansion news, a busy show. Good evening and welcome. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk right here on CL 650 Radio in Vancouver as we broadcast in the Barber & Co. studios. My name is Tyler Green, on Twitter at TylerGreenFC. The program also available online at CL650.com. Thank you for listening or watching on the webcast. The kickoff is brought to you by KO, Kevin O'Toole, and findaproperty.ca. Hey, wake up every game day next to the pitch in a dreamy designer condo right beside BC Place Stadium. There is an open house from 2 to 4 p.m. on Sunday for this one-bed, one-bath, 600-square-foot place on Cambie. The full details at findaproperty.ca. That's Kevin O'Toole, licensed realtor with Royal LePage, Sussex, online at findaproperty.ca. Our barber poll tonight is involving the Canadian men's national team, and we want to know what are your expectations for the Canadian men's national team in 2015. The barber poll is presented by Barber & Co. Online at barberandco.ca. Tweet us your thoughts with the hashtag BarberPoll on Twitter, at SoccerTalk650, at TylerGreenFC, at SimonFudge74. And, of course, visit the Facebook page, facebook.com/SoccerTalkVan, and you can weigh in on that as well. The Barber Poll is brought to you by Barber & Co. Gastown, Yaletown, the Financial District, Cambie and 18th, and on the corner of Main and 12th. Find them on Twitter at Barber & Co. or online at barberandco.ca. And yeah, what are your expectations for the Canadian men's national team in 2015? Win a game. Score a goal. That could be one of them. Perhaps improve from their ranking, which is 117th right now. Not great in CONCACAF as well. Improve on that by what? 25 spots, say, from 117 into the double digits, perhaps into the single digits in the CONCACAF region. Perhaps an extended run at the Gold Cup, maybe the quarterfinals, semifinals. Let us know what you think. The Barber Poll, again, brought to you by barberandco.ca. The starting 11 in just a few minutes with my co-host Simon Fudge. Lots of Major League Soccer discussion today, along with the news that USL Pro is now, just USL. And USL also attempting to be sanctioned as Division II by U.S. Soccer. So what does that mean for NASL? That in the starting 11 today. Right now, get into Kia Vancouver because they've got half-price payments only at Kia Vancouver, BC's #1 Kia dealership. Find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon or online at KiaVancouver.com. All right, on the program today, Vancouver Whitecaps FC have returned to Vancouver.
A lot of positives. There's a lot of stuff we need to improve on and work on, and we'll do that in the 3 weeks prior to the first game of the season, but we're in a good place at the moment.
Head coach Carl Robinson will tell us more as the Caps have now trained a few days in Vancouver and will play in Victoria on Sunday against the UVic Vikes.
We're delighted today to have announced that we sold over 40,000 tickets for the first game on March the 8th against New York. So we're well on our way to succeed in Operation #FillTheBowl.
Orlando City has sold over 40,000 tickets for their inaugural MLS matchup against New York City FC. Meanwhile, USL Pro is now just USL.
It's USL Rising. It's an exciting day for us, exciting time, and an exciting future ahead.
Executive VP Jake Edwards will break down the direction and rebrand of the USL. And the Canadian men's national team have a friendly coming up in March Simon and I will discuss our plans for the team in 2015. And, of course, it's an FA Cup weekend.
It is him. And it's in by Lallana on the rebound. Speroni couldn't hold it. Liverpool lead by 2 goals to 1 here. It's quite a comeback.
But first up, Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk and Goal.com writer Simon Fudge and I get into the starting 11 next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on CIL 650.
The Straight Razor Shave, a leading man classic. Steady hand coaxing the rugged face back to smoothness. This nearly lost art has found revival at Barber & Co. Hot towel, straight edge blade, and your face. It's an experience that reminds you you're alive. You're a man in the company of history's finest men. Start at barberandco.ca. Pick your barber shop in Yaletown, Gastown, the Financial District, Cambiet 18th, and now Main Street and 12th Avenue. And relax into the big leather chair for the shave of your life.
Whether playing soccer on this continent or football on every other, Umbro is the name worn by top players and teams worldwide. Those same uniforms are available for your team or club at Umbro.com. Umbro, proud to be the official supplier of Canada's men's and women's national teams, is celebrating 90 years of expertise in the game. If you want your club to play like the pros, dress them like the pros at Umbro.com. Umbro, the heart and soul of football.
The family story begins generations ago on Via Tevere, a street in the heart of Naples, where food was the celebration of life. Today, in East Van, Via Tevere Pizzeria Napoletana honors their family heritage with La Vera Pizza Napoletana, pizza that showcases authentic Neapolitan ingredients and the time-honored tradition of wood-fired cooking. Come experience La Vera Pizza Napoletana, true Neapolitan pizza at Via Tevere Pizzeria, 1190 Victoria Drive, and look for the Via Tevere Neapolitan Express food cart around town.
What do you want? A balcony so high it looks down into soccer matches at BC Place.
A pub I can walk to with a dozen big screens.
Kevin O'Toole has created findaproperty.ca to help you find it. Designed to be simply straightforward, findaproperty.ca is an invaluable tool. That's Kevin O'Toole, Roy LePage, Sussex, for buyers and sellers in the greater Vancouver area like you. So find what you want.
A backyard big enough for my own soccer pitch.
At findaproperty.ca.
Kia Vancouver asks, what's your favorite part of the game? The first half or the second half? While you think about that, we'll tell you about Kia's half-price payments on now, with Kia Vancouver paying half your payments on select 2015s, financing only. Pick your favorite half, and Kia Vancouver will pay the other half. And new Kia buyers always get free lifetime car washes, oil changes, airport shuttle, and parking at Kia Vancouver on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon and KiaVancouver.com.
What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Don't hurt me no more.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on CIL 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
Producer Greg Ballack has a theme tonight. He says it might be a tough one. After the first song, I'm going with SNL skits for 100 at Please Alex. It is starting 11 time. You can tweet us your thoughts on the starting 11 on Twitter at Tyler Green FC. My co-host and Goal.com writer Simon Fudge can be found at Simon Fudge 74, or of course the program itself, Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk, is also on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650. And we'll get into the starting 11 now with number 1. Should the introduction of mediation to the MLS collective bargaining agreement talks be seen as a positive or a negative sign, Simon?
It should be seen as a positive sign. It shows that both MLS and the Players Union are keen to find some common ground, to reach a deal. There's 3 weeks now until the season starts, and it gives me the sense that they know how damaging it would be to have some kind of work stoppage with this season coming up for so many reasons. So I think it should be seen as a good sign, because as much as they seem to be very much entrenched in their positions, I think they also at the same time want to get to a deal. Yeah, they want to get to a deal, and I think you can look at it both ways.
negatively, obviously, is the fact that they can't come to an agreement on their own, and they need help to make sure that that happens. But the positive sign is that they want to work on getting an agreement done, and so that mediation, I think, is a good thing because they're still moving forward and they're still moving in a positive direction and trying to get a deal done before those opening matches. So I'm going to say it's a positive sign, although you can look at it and say, hey, they're so far apart that they need this, and that's a bad thing.
Number 2, Orlando City has sold over 40,000 tickets for their MLS opener against their fellow expansion side, New York City FC. Is this a sign of the franchise getting things right off the field?
I think so. I think they're doing a really nice job engaging with their fans. They've got a lot of buzz with some of the signings that they have done with the likes of Kaká, with Breck Shea coming back, U.S. men's national team player, as well as just some other players here and there that they've picked up and make it, I think, exciting for the fans. But they've also got that good fan engagement, going out and seeing fans. They've been getting jerseys, they've been getting scarves out to people, and they've really been doing, I think, a great job. And they're not trying to push you so much of, hey, let's fill the bowl for all the games of the regular season. They're trying to fill it for that opening game, make that first game just an absolute cracker of an attendance wise, and really get people in there. And then hopefully they have a good performance on the field, they make it exciting, and now at least those 40,000 people are then going to turn around and say, oh, I got to get tickets for the rest of the year. I got to get tickets, the rest of the package of the season tickets, or I've got to go and pick up some tickets for the next few games. So for me, it's a great thing that they're getting things right off the field. If they can get things right on the field, it's going to look very good to have a lot of people going to games in Orlando.
Yeah, I see it as sort of a very positive first impression to me in terms of them getting things certainly right off the pitch. I'm equally as intrigued by the squad that their head coach Adrian Heath and the club have put together, because they've got some very good players in that side. I think they made a lot of really good moves to put the team together, and I actually see them in many ways being the better of the two expansion teams this year. I don't necessarily think they've had as much press as New York City, but I think they've gone about their business of trying to put the foundations in place to really hit the ground running in a very good way here. And that first game, get that big crowd. I mean, they've got a lot of references to work from. We had one here back in 2011 that was a huge success with a sold out crowd at Empire Field. Seattle's very first game, I think, was at CenturyLink Field, and you can really point to those as really being somewhere where the MLS in those marketplaces really took off and really launched. And so Orlando could point to that and sort of say, yeah, we want to do that too, but we want to do it even better. And I think it's a really good sign.
Was that first game? Well, obviously the Whitecaps game, but the Seattle inaugural game as well against New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, and it's
Thierry Henry played.
I know, it's amazing, but you take some, but it was such a great memory, and it was such something that there was a lot to take away from it. You'll never forget it, right? Because it was a first, and it was a great first. And I think the fact they're putting that effort in to make a great first is an excellent thing.
It was that game really. It set up, I think, a lot of what the Sounders were able to do, because it got exciting, and it was a fun game, great atmosphere. They all kind of got it. The scarves up was just so memorable for me to see everybody in that stadium holding the scarf up on, in unison, really. And I think for me that translated into, wow, that was amazing. I need to do that again. And I think it just built from there. And then obviously being able to put a winning product on the field has helped Seattle. And I think Orlando is hoping that happens with them.
Mm-hmm, absolutely.
Number 3 on the starting 11, after Major League Soccer decided not to consider Las Vegas for expansion until after 2018, Has Sin City seen their best chance to join the league pass them by?
No, I don't think so. I feel Las Vegas will get another opportunity here to make a bid. But in the time between now and when that opportunity to make another bid arises, I think they need to use that time to prepare and put together something that is well thought out and really leaves no stone unturned as a bid to MLS. The type of thing that really makes it impossible for MLS the next time round to effectively turn them down.
Yeah, you know what, for me, it was not so much anything that Las Vegas did poorly, but you just look at Sacramento, who seems like they should just be a shoo-in to get a franchise here very shortly, and just some of the LA's got a bid, the continuing stuff that's going on with Miami that is or is not going to be a team. So I just think they're sort of running out of room to get a team. But with expansion seemingly going so much in the East of late, I think another Western franchise would be very wise. Las Vegas would be great. And I think, like you said, they just need to get a few things in place, a few little pieces to the puzzle in place. If they could even get a USL Pro team in there, perhaps that would be good. That with the aspirations of then moving up a division to Major League Soccer would be great. But getting those pieces in place and making sure that those pieces are in place in suitable spots to then expand of what they're doing. The other thing that could benefit with them is just if an NHL team were to go in there and just test the waters of, is this a viable professional sports market? And I think that could also be something that might be able to help a soccer franchise going in there as well.
Yeah, there's a number of different ways, but if they get an opportunity to tighten it together, I think they've got a great opportunity down the road. Number 4 is the war of words between Montreal Impact president Joy Saputo and TFC chief Tim Leiweke, a good thing for the rivalry of the two Canadian clubs.
Yeah, because it's two teams that, one in Montreal that isn't going very well and just seemingly getting a lot of things wrong and being linked to a lot of players that aren't coming. And with their season last year, they need a little fire to be talked about. And then Toronto FC is a team that, had a pretty big deal last year and it failed miserably. And as much as I think a lot of people are optimistic about it this year, there, I think, is still that thing in the back of their head of, let's see if it works out first before we're going to dive in fully to say that this is going to be awesome. And so I think the conversation, the jabs back and forth is good. I think it creates that rivalry, that talk about one another, the trash talk. It gives each team some bulletin board material, and it just makes it fun. And you want to have some of those rivalries and some of those heated rivalries and some hatred between the clubs. And this is it's getting there, and it's starting to get there. It'd be nice to see a little bit more of it, and I think it's nothing but good for the rivalry.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing as well, and it adds spice to, I think, what is already a natural rivalry. And if you remember to their last encounter on the pitch last season at BMO Field last year, it got turned up a notch pretty high. There were about 3 red cards late in the game. I saw Dwayne DeRozera throw a bit of a very late kick out on one of the Montreal players. There was a lot even that you could have taken from that game to these war of words that really make watching these two teams play this year a lot of fun to watch. Don't forget that they have to play each other 5 times this season. They've got the 2 Amway Canadian Championship semifinals and then their 3 games in the league. Could be fun to watch these two teams take each other on.
Get into Kia Vancouver, because right now, half-price payments at Kia Vancouver, BC's #1 Kia dealership. Find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon or online at KiaVancouver.com. Number 5 on the starting 11. What are your thoughts on the way the USL have rebranded themselves ahead of the 2015 season, Simon?
I think it's been a smart move. The look itself, in terms of visual, I think is modern and very forward-thinking. But in terms of the branding from a messaging point of view, they've gone out of their way to take away any of the confusion and the kind of convoluted nature that the USL structure of leagues, which are obviously USL Pro, PDL, and W League, kind of fell under these different kind of endings, but we're all still a part of the USL, or United Soccer Leagues as it was known. Now it is United Soccer League, just define their top flagship men's league. I like the fact that that clear definition has now been established.
Yeah, and we'll hear from Executive VP Jake Edwards of USL in the second half of the program to talk more about this. But yeah, I like the fact, like you said, we know the pro in there was almost like, hey, we're professional. We're a professional team. Don't worry. We pay players, etc. You know, it's almost like you're trying to convince people that it's a professional thing. It's not Major League Baseball professional or NBA pro. People know that. So for me, it's I think, like you said, it really clarifies that they are what they are. Also kind of brings back, I think, a little bit of that heritage of the USL brand from previous years. And, there's going to be some more rebranding with some of the other properties that are underneath them, which I think is great as well. So it's going to be interesting to see. But I like what USL has done, and it's going to be interesting to see how they move forward with it.
Number 6, USL President Tim Holt says they plan to apply to U.S. Soccer, the United States Soccer Federation, for Division II status with their top flight league. With the NASL already designated, or the North American Soccer League already designated as North America's second tier, what should U.S. Soccer decide to do?
This is a tough one because, if you piss off one, then you've got the other one. It's going to be a tricky thing. I think just with the way that things are set up right now, it makes more sense to have USL as Division II. More of the players are going to be going from that league straight to what MLS is, which is Division I. And, it is going to be, for me anyway, makes more sense to have USL as the Division II team. But then, of course, you're going to piss off an NASL division who want to be known as a higher league. So it's going to be a tricky situation that U.S. Soccer has to decide on. And then at the same time, the CSA, where are they situated with two Canadian teams? So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what this happens. If I'm U.S. Soccer, though, I'm going with USL as my Division II.
I think the USSF, or U.S. Soccer should give careful consideration to this proposal by USL, which I'm sure will come in the not too distant future. But I think that should give them an opportunity to get USL and the NASL sat down, and that they start working on providing a much clearer picture of what pro soccer will look like under MLS. And I think so it needs to be almost taken as, instead of trying to weigh two competing interests for a certain level, get some area of cooperation. And I think the goal amongst all of those vested interests is to try and collectively start mapping out what the structure of the league tiers should look like for the United States, or for North America for that matter, over the next few years. Take it as an opportunity that gets the dialogue to sit down and talk about. There was a lot of that type of talk this week in the midst of all of these, particularly the USL announcement. And I think that's what U.S. Soccer should probably try and look to focus on. Take that consideration of what USL wants to do, what the NSL wants to be, but maybe sort of say, okay, maybe it's time now to try and define and where can everybody sit within this landscape.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky situation for sure, but it leads us to number 7 on the starting 11. And does the USL's plans threaten the future of the NASL?
No, I don't think so. I think this week's news will hopefully get, like I say, the NASL, the USL, and hopefully even MLS as well, into a regular dialogue of cooperation, so that they can make to ultimately make North American pro soccer stronger and more clearly defined in its structure. Maybe what it could also lead to with that kind of dialogue and understanding, and it would be a work in I'm thinking more along the lines of a work in progress with this dialogue, that hey, we could maybe see some promotion and relegation amongst these leagues sometime down the road.
You know, I think there have been teams that have decided to join NASL that have now sort of backed out. It is a tricky situation when you look at NASL. It's sort of, it just does, to me, just does not have that significant presence that now USL, I was going to say USL Pro, but USL has with their so many affiliations with Major League Soccer and just that branding together. And we were even looking at some of the branding that they have on the website that is so similar now, because USL, the actual logo can be, has all the different colors of the teams, like Major League Soccer has done for their crest, where every team has their own individual, league crest in their color schemes. And so, I think NASL really needs to kind of step up their game and take their game to the next level and really show what they can do. But like you said, it's really going to come down to all of the groups talking to one another and really figuring out what is the best pyramid plan. And, at the same time, you look at, U.S. Soccer, I think, is looking at this going, well, if we knock down a NASL team to now call it a Division 3 team, is that going to sort of kill the NASL? And I think there's a very good possibility that might happen. I think people might then look at it and say, geez, we've been knocked down. USL is on the up and up. Maybe let's switch leagues and see what happens. So it's going to be a very, very tricky situation here over the next couple of weeks.
There's no question it's a delicate matter for U.S. Soccer to have to deal with, but again, still needs to be treated, I think, as something where they can take it as an opportunity to get everybody sat down and probably have those discussions that I think have been a little bit overdue.
Still a few more left on the starting 11, and we will continue those in just a minute here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on CIL 650.
The family story begins generations ago on Via Tevere, a street in the heart of Naples, where food was the celebration of life. Today, in East Van, Via Tevere Pizzeria Napoletana honors their family heritage with La Vera Pizza Napoletana, pizza that showcases authentic Neapolitan ingredients and the time-honored tradition of wood-fired cooking. Come experience La Vera Pizza Napoletana, true Neapolitan pizza at Via Tevere Pizzeria, 1190 Victoria Drive, and look for the Via Tevere Neapolitan Express food cart around town.
Pain or injury slowing you down? Take it to the choice of many top athletes, Expert Physio. Serving the Lower Mainland for over 35 years, the team at Expert Physio is dedicated to individualized care with specialized services such as orthotics, acupuncture, IMS, plus dizziness, pelvic floor, and certified hand therapies. Over 300 physicians referred to Expert Physio last year, and 100% of patients surveyed said they choose Expert Physio again. You're in good hands with Expert Physio. Burnaby Heights or at 8 Rinks, expertphysio.ca.
Kia Vancouver asks, what's your favorite part of the game? The first half or the second half? While you think about that, we'll tell you about Kia's half-price payments on now, with Kia Vancouver paying half your payments on select 2015s, financing only. Pick your favorite half, and Kia Vancouver will pay the other half. And new Kia buyers always get free lifetime car washes, oil changes, airport shuttle, and parking at Kia Vancouver on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon and KiaVancouver.com.
Not that your stylist at the salon isn't doing a good job, but man, you deserve the big red leather barber chair experience of Barber & Co. Here's how it works. Go to barberandco.ca. Book your appointment at one of the 5 barber shops in Gastown, Yaletown, the Financial District, Cambie at 18th, and now Main Street and 12th Avenue. You can just walk in, too, and get your hair cut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim experience. A great wedding party idea, too. barberandco.ca.
Because the beautiful game's always been very social. Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk with Tyler Green invites you to get social with them. Join Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk on Twitter and Facebook for the latest on the show, promotions, previews, game coverage, and prizes. Plus, they love it when you interact. Get into the game. Get social with Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. Become a friend at facebook.com/SoccerTalkVan and follow the guys on Twitter at SoccerTalk650, Tyler Green FC, or Simon Fudge 74.
Perfectly timed to celebrate Chinese New Year.
It's the Scratch and Save event at Inspiration Furniture.
Make your purchase from Inspiration Furniture's 3 floors of furnishings for sleeping, dining, working, living, and receive your red envelope.
Open it and scratch to save from 10% to 100% on your purchase.
10 to 100%. What will your savings be?
Make a purchase and find out. Scratch and Save now for a limited time at Inspiration Furniture.
1275 West 6 between Granville and Oak in Vancouver.
See store for full details.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on CIL 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
We'll hear from Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson in 15 minutes or so, talking the squad's return from Tucson, plus a look at whether any new trialists might be joining the Whitecaps here over the next couple of weeks. But Simon has a look ahead in the MLS scoreboard and some of the Caps plans as well.
Yeah, that's right. The preseason schedule will continue when they play the University of Victoria Vikings tomorrow at Centennial Stadium. 2 o'clock is the local kickoff time. And then they're off to Portland, Oregon next Friday to play in the Simple Invitational. There's 3 games they'll play there. On Sunday, February 22nd, the host Portland Timbers. On Wednesday, February 24th, they play Bob Bradley's Norwegian side Stayback. And then on Sunday, February 28th, they will play Frank Allop's Chicago Fire.
Thanks, Simon. Continue now with the starting 11 here on Kia Vancouver Soccer Talk. And right now, half-price payments at Kia Vancouver, BC's #1 Kia dealership. Find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon. Online at KiaVancouver.com. And Simon, number 8.
What's more alarming? Canada ranked 117th in the latest FIFA World Rankings, or 15th amongst their rivals in CONCACAF?
Well, I think for me it is 15th amongst their rivals in CONCACAF, because those are the teams that you need to play against. Those are the teams that you need to beat in order to get there. And you look at the complete FIFA rankings, and it is just mind-blowing as some of the teams ranked ahead of them, some of the teams ranked behind them. But it's just the way the system works that there are teams that you go, how are they ranked ahead of Canada there? So I think more realistically, yeah, Canada probably is 15th best in CONCACAF right now, and that's the one that you need to look at, because those are the teams that they need to play against. Those are the teams that they need to beat. And for me, being ranked 15th just shows that you do not have what it takes right now to even qualify for World Cup, and maybe not even make a run at the Gold Cup. So for me, that is the one that they need to work on and improve greatly.
Totally agree. Their CONCACAF ranking is woeful, and that is putting it politely. The fact that the likes of Antigua and Barbuda, Dominican Republic, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as we have famously known with a couple of former Whitecaps players, Marlon James and center back from a few years ago, forgot his name. Being ranked ahead of Canada, it really does nothing more but underline, and it should underline to all in Canadian soccer, where we actually are in the region. And more importantly, where we need to really focus our improvement plans on. And the key is this. The thing that everyone still needs to learn and should keep in mind at all times is we need to learn from our improved rivals, notably Costa Rica, Honduras, and Panama. These are 3 countries that have gone out of their way in recent years, I'm thinking the last 5 to 10, that they've gone and improved their own soccer in their own countries. So much so that we have seen very, very credible, impressive performances over time. The most recent one being the very impressive performance of the Panamanian under-20 side. I thought a very accomplished, polished, and mature-looking team. This is where our lesson needs to be. This is where it needs to be focused on, and this is where we need to start making the improvements if we're going to get moving in the right direction.
Number 9 on the starting 11, according to reports, the Canadian men are set to face Guatemala on March 26th in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Is this another good match for Canada to play in?
Yes, it is. It is a CONCACAF rival and a very good warm-up match for this summer's Gold Cup because they could play, say, against a Guatemala or at least one or two other Central American countries. The friendly should also provide not only for the players in terms of feedback, but for head coach Benito Floro, the kind of feedback of how to play against such teams, because you're going to need to have that kind of understanding come World Cup qualifying.
I think it is a good one. More games for me is something that they need. South American opponents, CONCACAF opponents is another key. I would have preferred that this game not be necessarily in Fort Lauderdale. I would have liked to have maybe seen it in Canada or even in Guatemala, making it a game that, for me, just not so neutral of a sight. I think that kind of, you get to see the team play, your team play, you get to see the competition play, but you don't necessarily see how they perform under the pressure of playing at home, or playing under the pressure of being away in Guatemala. So I would have liked to have seen that happen as opposed to something in Fort Lauderdale. It also is an international break, so we're going to see, I think, more of what Benito Floro has in mind for his squads moving forward, I think, a little bit. So I think all positives to play this match, and excited to see kind of what happens with it.
Number 10, with a veteran-laden lineup traveling to Victoria on Sunday to face the Vikes, what do you expect from the Whitecaps?
Nothing less than a victory, and I'm thinking I'd be very happy with a 3-1 victory. I know there's still a couple players that they want to take a look at that are not Major League Soccer players, more younger guys that are looking to get an opportunity to play at the USL level with Whitecaps FC2. So for me, it's an opportunity, I think, for those veteran players to really put their stamp on the game and really show what they can do against weaker competition. And for those other players, it's a chance to step up and say, hey, don't forget about me and not take me to Portland for this next set of training camp. I want to be there and still potentially get on that MLS roster and get an MLS contract. So for me, the Whitecaps, a victory, and they need to try to win this comfortably.
For me, it should be a good, productive display with some goals. I mean, I'm thinking even more than 3 goals tomorrow in some respects. I think UVic will work hard to close them down. I'm sure Bruce Wilson will, the way he keeps his teams as fit as they are, we'll look to try and do that, but I can't expect them to give this strong-looking Whitecaps side much more problems than that. And I think Carl Robinson's side need to make, as you say, I think this is now the point where they need to take things up to another level with their preparations for the season. Use this game tomorrow to shape things in terms of how they're going to play, what the combinations are going to look like, the formation, and more than anything, get that establishment of those relationships between the players in the various positions, really starting to root them down now, and then take it then to another level of fine-tuning it through in the Simple Invitational in Portland.
And finally, number 11 on the starting 11, which player or players do you expect to be the first name to Whitecaps FC2?
I had a thought of a variety of names, but I went with a lot of the guys that were effectively residency graduates. Marco Bustos, Keans Froese, Ben McKendry, Mitch Perreault came to mind. I think those would be the players that maybe they should really make the announcement of sort of signing first to Whitecaps FC2. It would underline to everyone that they're looking to that they're very much committed to graduating their young players out of their residency program into the first team, and more than anything, it's players that should be, fans should expect to be regular starters in this WSC2 team. So I think it's got to be kind of one of those two things I think are really important here. They need to sort of say, here's the continuum of our own program, but also here are the players you're going to get a chance to see because they're going to be the ones that are going to be starting on a regular basis.
Yeah, I looked at a lot of those guys like you mentioned, but for me it's, I think Carducci, Bustos, Froze, etc. Those are all kind of given guys that are going to be loaned down to the USL Pro or the USL WFC2 side. So for me, guys that I think are going to get those contracts with the actual USL team, I think Mitch Perreault and Jackson Farmer are the two guys that will, I think, be kind of named first. I don't necessarily think they're going to just name a bunch of MLS guys to that roster. I think they're going to start by signing some of these guys, and I think those two are guys that they're going to show, hey, graduated from the program, they're now taking that next step, the WFC2, looking to make that next step up to the MLS roster. And I wouldn't be surprised to see a couple other guys, whether they're SFU players or some UBC players, or heck, going over to UVic, watching the game, maybe somebody's going to catch the eye of a Carl Robinson, of an Alan Koch on Sunday and say, hey, you know what, we need to bring this kid and he needs to be a player on USL in that WFC2 side as well. But for me, Mitch Perreault, Jackson Farmer, I think are the first kind of two guys that will actually get signings, contracts with that WFC2 team. Quick timeout. When we return from the break, we're going to clean up some news and notes. There's a few little things here and there that we'll talk about. Simon and I will discuss as well. We'll check in with Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson next.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on Sea Isle 650.
What do you want?
A balcony so high it looks down into soccer matches at BC Place.
A pub I can walk to with a dozen big screens.
Kevin O'Toole has created findaproperty.ca to help you find it. Designed to be simply straightforward, findaproperty.ca is an invaluable tool. That's Kevin O'Toole, Royal LePage, Sussex, for buyers and sellers in the greater Vancouver area like you. So find what you want
A backyard big enough for my own soccer pitch.
at findaproperty.ca.
Kia Vancouver asks, what's your favorite part of the game? The first half or the second half? While you think about that, we'll tell you about Kia's half-price payments on now, with Kia Vancouver paying half your payments on select 2015s, financing only. Pick your favorite half, and Kia Vancouver will pay the other half. And new Kia buyers always get free lifetime car washes, oil changes, airport shuttle, and parking at Kia Vancouver on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon and KiaVancouver.com.
The Straight Razor Shave, a leading man classic. Steady hand coaxing the rugged face back to smoothness. This nearly lost art has found revival at Barber & Co. Hot towels, straight edge blade, and your face. It's an experience that reminds you you're alive. You're a man in the company of history's finest men. Start at barberandco.ca. Pick your barber shop in Yaletown, Gastown, the Financial District, Cambiet 18th, and now Main Street and 12th Avenue. And relax into the big leather chair for the shave of your life.
The family story begins generations ago on Via Tevere, a street in the heart of Naples, where food was the celebration of life. Today, in East Van, Via Tevere Pizzeria Napoletana honors their family heritage with La Vera Pizza Napoletana, pizza that showcases authentic Neapolitan ingredients and the time-honored tradition of wood-fired cooking. Come experience La Vera Pizza Napoletana, true Neapolitan pizza at Via Tevere Pizzeria, 1190 Victoria Drive, and look for the Via Tevere Neapolitan Express food cart around town.
One word makes all the difference. Trust. You can't earn it overnight. You can't put a price tag on it. Trust must be earned. Over the last 30 years, BC Furnace has built their reputation on trust. Tens of thousands of customers now recommend BC Furnace by name for installation, maintenance, and repairs, in large part to one thing: trust. BC Furnace, keeping Lower Mainland homes warm and comfortable for over 30 years.
BCFurnace.com, BC's #1 choice.
Hey, you got the car. Awesome.
Yeah, I told my parents I was coming to this party and they gave me the keys. I told them I wouldn't drink.
And what about drugs? They didn't say anything about drugs, did they?
No, I guess they think driving high is not a big deal.
What are you saying if you don't say anything?
Talk to your teens about the dangers of drugs and driving. Learn more at silencecanbedeadly.ca. A message from the Partnership for a Drug-Free Canada.
This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on CIL 650. Now broadcasting from the Barber & Co. studios. Here's your host, Tyler Green.
Whitecaps head coach Carl Robinson will share his thoughts from training in a moment. But first, Simon has some of the England scores as it was an FA Cup weekend.
Yes, it was. It was the 5th round of the FA Cup. 4 games today. Blackburn Rovers knocking off Stoke City by 4-1. Stoke Crystal Palace led against Liverpool but fell 2-1 at home. Derby County losing 2-1 at home to fellow championship side Reading. And West Bromwich Albion knocking off West Ham United by 4-0. 3 games tomorrow. Aston Villa, new manager Teddy Sheringham taking over there. It's not Teddy Sheringham, sorry. It's,
You've lost me, Simon.
I know.
You're going to have to look this up.
I know, I'll have
back
to look
it
this up. Aston Villa play
our,
Leicester
news
City.
and notes.
Bradford City against Sunderland. Arsenal will play Middlesbrough. And then on Monday, Preston North End play Manchester United.
As we will now go to a Whitecaps interview with head coach Carl Robinson. Simon was busy looking on his computer for the answer to that question. But, Carl Robinson spoke to the media, a very sparse crowd of media, earlier this week, just talking about the trip back from Tucson, Arizona, and what he feels like that trip accomplished.
It's really about topping up fitness and getting to a base level of fitness that we can kick on from, and we've done that. Obviously, it was very hot there, which we knew, and I think, coming back home, as we put it, is a lot more nicer, even though we haven't got the sun. But there's a lot of positives. There's a lot of stuff we need to improve on and work on, and we'll do that in the 3 weeks prior to the first game of the season. But we're in a good place at the moment.
You just said it, 3 weeks before the season starts. That's not a lot of time.
It's not, no, but it's an exciting 3 weeks. I said, to the players every day that they work hard in the off-season to get themselves ready for this first game of the season, and we're 3 weeks away. The euphoria behind the first game against Toronto will be there for everyone to see. It's important we keep calm heads, maintain our fitness, and improve as we go along, and we're doing that every day.
Is it also important to go to the island and showcase some of your talent to the rest of the province?
It is. It's something that I wanted to do last year, and I think it's very important that we do get out there, and we'll be doing it a lot, more throughout the year this year. We'll go and train at certain facilities and get people to come and see us, because we want support, a lot of support behind us throughout the year, because we do need the support. We enjoy the support, so it's important we're going over to the island every year, and as long as I'm here, that will continue to happen.
You got a lot of new faces, so what can the fans expect from this team? A lot more offense, or?
Yeah, no, we've got a lot more young players, I'll say that. That's the model of the club and me. And they're good young players, they're top young players, with our homegrown players coming through as well, which are new additions to our roster. Then it'll certainly be a slightly different look, but it'll be an exciting look.
How's Gershon Kofi doing?
He's okay. He was in today, so I'll catch up with him today. I haven't seen him this morning, but 2 or 3 days, and I think he'll be back ready to train.
And Gordon Forrest, how's he coming along?
Could be back 2 or 3 years before Gordon's back. No, he's obviously, I think he's got a slight rupture of his Achilles, so it's a tricky one for Gordon, because he's just done it pushing off, a very innocuous thing. But we'll all rally around him, because he's an important part. He does a lot of work behind the scenes for me as well, so you'll see him down here probably in a day or two, hobbling about.
And you've got Robert Earnshaw in here as a trialist. What has he shown that's impressed you thus far?
No, obviously Ernie's background is he's a goal scorer, and he's without a club at the moment. I said I can help him, get some match fitness and some training fitness. He wanted to do that. We'll take a look at him, and we'll just see how it goes. There's nothing written. There's no commitment from either end. I'm helping him, and obviously he's trying to get himself fit as well.
Might we see some more trialists at some point in the
Yeah, you might do. You might do. I haven't got any names for you at the moment, but there is a possibility that maybe while we're away in Portland, there might be 1 or 2 coming in. But I can't confirm that at the moment.
That's head coach Carl Robinson of the Vancouver Whitecaps chatting with the media members earlier this week about a variety of things, including his club's return from Arizona. And one of the things that he talked about, Simon, was that really was getting the fitness levels right, getting the guys up to speed, and now it's taking that next step. And I talked to him prior to leaving that, and he really had a plan of sort of 6 different phases that he wanted to get to. And now for this next week, I think it's sort of that kicking it up a notch, getting those systems down, and when they go down to Portland for those games, it is really going to be who's going to be who. These guys are now fighting for the starting 11 spots, aren't they?
That's right. And from the sounds of it, it's been all going according to plan. I didn't really read that much into, as some people did, into those 3 games in Arizona in terms of performances and things, because I think the biggest thing they were trying to do, and you could see it in a lot of the post-match comments after the games in Arizona, they were trying to get the players in and get as much frontline match fitness as they possibly could, because they just didn't have any of it beforehand because they've been on a break. So that was where they were using that to get that foundation in. Now it gets into a situation where even I think as early as tomorrow, but particularly when they go to Portland, it's, as you say, moving up a notch, getting systems in place, getting an understanding how they're going to attack teams, how they're going to defend against teams, and just shape towards what is that starting 11 going to look like, and who are the players that are going to step up and say, I'm going to be starting on March 7th.
Yeah, and it is going to be interesting as well to see which players obviously get left behind and don't necessarily make that next set of cuts or phase to play on a Major League Soccer team and kind of start that USL camp and that WFC2 phase of things here. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly where they work on. And as well, you look at this squad moving forward here, and they've got a week now basically before they go down to Portland. Some of these players as well, Steven Beitashour, and we'll hear from him later. He hasn't been with the club. Pedro Morales has kind of been away as well, as his wife has been giving birth as well. So, there's been that kind of not necessarily the full squad there. So I think this week we're going to see a lot at training. We're going to see a lot of really putting into place what exactly he wants them to do moving forward. And it's going to be interesting to see who now can take that next step. Nicholas Mosquito looked great in the sort of the preseason, the pre-preseason really, as I'm calling it, in Vancouver and Tucson. Well, now can he continue to raise his game up and raise it up again in these next levels? So there's some guys that I think really need to continue to move in that upward direction.
Kakuta Mane would be the other one. And if he does so, then you've got to get, as I said, I think we said it last week, you've got to be really excited about what he can bring to the table, because he looks like he's ready to go. And along with Mosquito, they look like 2 players that, they're ready to make contributions right away. And that's a really good thing, because I don't think necessarily at this point, in terms of who we think would be out there first day of the season, we knew they'd probably be able to contribute, but we didn't necessarily have maybe those 2 names at the very top of the list.
Get into Kia Vancouver, because right now, half-price payments at Kia Vancouver, BC's #1 Kia dealership. Find them at 396 Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon, or online at KiaVancouver.com. Time for the latest news, notes, and rumors from around the globe, brought to you by Steve Nash Sports Clubs. That's snclubs.com. And some good news if you're a Canadian men's national team fan, potentially. Malin Roberts, FC Eddie's FC Edmonton defender, has just been awarded his Canadian citizenship. So now he is, able to travel to Australia, where his mother and his brothers and sister are, that he hasn't seen in a number of years, because he hasn't been able to travel out that way. But the other thing is the fact that he is now able to represent Canada at the national team level, and that is something that he has said that he is interested in potentially doing.
Well, Colin Miller will provide as good a reference as any, and I think that any more options out there that the national team can have is good, certainly at this point in time.
And Malin Roberts is going to be 23 this year, and we will tell you why that's kind of possibly interesting in a few minutes. As well, elsewhere, Vancouver Whitecaps newswise is could it be Tico time in Vancouver as Brian Ruiz, the Costa Rican attacker, has obviously played with Fulham, but there's talk on Costa Rican radio that he is up for a move. Well, he actually told Costa Rican radio that he is up for a move to Major League Soccer or Scandinavia as well. And he is reportedly being linked to the Vancouver Whitecaps. They, of course, though, have all their designated player spots used up. But that is interesting to hear. And could he fit the bill that the Whitecaps are needing?
Well, we better ask Kendall Waston what he might be up to, because there's something that tells me that he could be having a certain amount of influence if it is true. So, I mean, he had a great World Cup. Let's be honest. He was amazing. He was a huge reason why they got to the quarterfinals, and he is a very good finisher, and I think he would be a very good finisher in this league.
Switching gears over to England, Liverpool, Arsenal, and Inter Milan are all monitoring James Milner after the Manchester City midfielder demanded a new 4-year contract with the current Premier League champions. And German club Wolfsburg are eyeing Everton striker Romelu Lukaku in the summer transfer window. And Simon's now going to correct himself on his Teddy Sheringham comment.
That's right. Teddy Sheringham, I don't think is ever going to be coaching it, but Tim Sherwood is the new manager of Aston Villa. Has taken over from Paul Lambert. That was announced today by the Birmingham-based club, and so would anticipate that he'll be put right into the fire in the FA Cup tomorrow.
And Greg informing us during the commercial break that Sheringham and Shearer were his go-to strikers in a FIFA game back in the day.
FIFA 99 to be exact. They were a deadly combo on offense for me. Like I said on off the air, I could probably name 3/4 of that 98 England squad, and I'm not too sure about any other team from that time.
Blanking on
don't quiz me.
Just don't ask me.
Don't
ask me on the air.
I know. Well, you speak to any England sport, especially when me being probably at my most rabid at the time, especially around Euro 96, and they were definitely a very dangerous combo, especially the way they tore apart to the Dutch in one particular game that tournament.
You can weigh in on our Barber poll today, and it's something that we're going to get into quite a bit in the second half of the program. What do you see and what do you expect from the Canadian men's national team in 2015? You can weigh in at Soccer Talk 650, at Tyler Green FC, at Simon Fudge 74. It is our Barber poll presented by barberandco.ca, on Twitter at barberandco. Let us know what you think and what you expect to see from the Canadian men's national team in 2015. Coming up in the second half of the program.
Nice to get away, finally do the honeymoon, and it was just a good time.
Whitecaps defender Steven Badischer is back with the team after a brief getaway for his honeymoon. He'll join us in the second half of the program.
It's USL Rising. It's an exciting day for us, exciting time, and an exciting future ahead.
But up next, Jake Edwards, Executive VP of USL Talks Rebrand.
Follow us on Twitter at Soccer Talk 650 and at Tyler Green FC. This is Kia Vancouver's Soccer Talk on Sea Isle 650.
What do you want?
A balcony so high it looks down into soccer matches at BC Place.
A pub I can walk to with a dozen big screens.
Kevin O'Toole has created findaproperty.ca to help you find it. Designed to be simply straightforward, findaproperty.ca is an invaluable tool. That's Kevin O'Toole, Royal LePage, Sussex, for buyers and sellers in the greater Vancouver area like you. So find what you want.
A backyard big enough for my own soccer pitch.
At findaproperty.ca.
Vancouver Street Soccer League is the beautiful game at its finest.
Teams of men and women who are homeless, have recently been homeless, or are at risk for homelessness get together to train and play matches. It's great fun that builds skill and confidence, and the league sent players to 4 consecutive Homeless World Cups in Milan, Rio de Janeiro, Paris, Mexico City, and Poland. Find out more at VancouverStreetSoccer.com.
Vancouver Street Soccer League. Get into it and get behind it.
Kia Vancouver asks, what's your favorite part of the game? The first half or the second half? While you think about that, we'll tell you about Kia's half-price payments on now. With Kia Vancouver paying half your payments on select 2015s, financing only. Pick your favorite half and Kia Vancouver will pay the other half. And new Kia buyers always get free lifetime car washes, oil changes, airport shuttle, and parking at Kia Vancouver on Southwest Marine Drive at Yukon and KiaVancouver.com.
Not that your stylist at the salon isn't doing a good job, but man, you deserve the big red leather barber chair experience of Barber & Co. Here's how it works. Go to barberandco.ca. Book your appointment at one of the 5 barber shops in Gastown, Yaletown, the Financial District, Cambie at 18th, and now Main Street and 12th Avenue. You can just walk in, too, and get your hair cut, hot shave, buzz cut, fade, or beard trim experience. A great wedding party idea, too. barberandco.ca.
The family story begins generations ago on Via Tevere, a street in the heart of Naples, where food was the celebration of life. Today, in East Van, Via Tevere Pizzeria Napoletana honors their family heritage with La Vera Pizza Napoletana, pizza that showcases authentic Neapolitan ingredients and the time-honored tradition of wood-fired cooking. Come experience La Vera Pizza Napoletana, true Neapolitan pizza at Via Tevere Pizzeria, 1190 Victoria Drive, and look for the Via Tevere Neapolitan Express food cart around town.
Counseling? I don't have the time or the money.
I'm too old for it anyway.
Counseling's really for troubled people. I'm fine.
Actually, counseling is for anyone who wants to feel better. I'm Dawn Schooler, owner of Jericho Counseling. We've made counseling accessible and convenient with appointments 7 days a week, including evenings, at our offices in Vancouver and Burnaby. It starts with a visit to JerichoCounseling.com for your free 30-minute consultation.
Join Jericho Counseling on Sea Isle 650's Boomer Life this Tuesday at 6.
This is CISL